It's the return of Talks Over Games. Well, no, it's plugged. The games are plugged now. And they're next generation, or sorry, current generation plugged.
Yeah, they call them next gen, but it's current.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would even still call it that. I know that Xbox and PS3 are so popular, but anyway, got myself a PS4. We got one for the studio here, and we're going to be talking about the game that made me pick up the system, Bloodborne. Bloodborne is fucking hard. Like, Jesus Christ, this game's difficult. How many hours did you watch me play this game?
Too many.
You didn't like it?
Well, I think this is more interesting than watching Dark Souls.
Right. But wait, you beat Dark Souls though?
Yeah, but I didn't like it.
Oh, so all right. Well, yeah, we covered Dark Souls. After that, D-Hart kind of got obsessed with beating it, and he fucking destroyed the game. And I'm still trying to go through it. This game is not a cakewalk by comparison. It's extremely difficult, especially if you're a fan of Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, because it plays a little differently. You're basically constantly rewarded for sticking your neck out and risking your life and fighting these crazy difficult enemies because, well, if you notice when you get hit, if you look at the life bar, sometimes it'll turn orange. Well, if you hit an enemy and make them bleed, you'll get your life back immediately. So it rewards you for being offensive, which is totally unlike Dark Souls. The game's also astoundingly pretty to look at. Like all these scenes, like that scene right there, which is really pivotal for the story, and I'm not going to ruin it. And this scene, which is from Old Yarnum. Like, there's just so much detail.
Hit slash there with the whip.
Yeah, the fire whip. We'll talk about the awesome, well, the threaded cane here in a bit. But there's just so much detail in this world. It looks way better than Dark Souls. Like, the detail level's cranked, and then the monster's behavior is pretty hilarious. And also kind of beautiful in a weirdly weird, kind of gothic way. And then shit's really scary, like giant spiders, which also kind of look badass.
I'm glad the video ran away from that.
Yeah, the video was even scared.
Like, oh my god, we gotta stop recording this.
And you got the straight up traditional tomb art here in what we'll talk about later, the Chalice dungeons.
Oh, look at them potheads.
Yeah, they're gathered around a lantern. The lanterns are the fire bonfires in this game.
The save points, teleportation thing.
Yeah, this game, if you're not familiar with the style of game this is like an action RPG. You move from checkpoint to checkpoint, and as you go to checkpoints, all the enemies you killed getting there are just put back into the world.
And what about this weirdness?
I would rather just let people find out why I was doing this, and the only way you can really find out about the story of this game is to read item descriptions and kind of listen to what the crazy-ass characters you meet tell you about.
I kind of feel like that is worthy of the quote from Cannibal. Nice hat.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's part of the story, and I don't want to comment. This game is almost unspoilable in a certain way because it's been out for a while, but I just want to talk about the bare bones of the game, what makes it great, and the bosses are fucking amazing, not only to look at, but to fight. Some of them are a little easier than a lot of the Dark Souls bosses because, well, I use very OP weapons at this point in the game. This is a New Game Plus you're looking at. And I'm fighting the first boss, the Cleric Beast, and almost dying, but I have so many blood vials, which is the healing item in the game that you can get from killing enemies and or buy if you have enough blood echoes to spend. The currency in the game, which also levels you up.
Yeah, you'll probably hear people just call them souls.
Yeah, because that's what they're that's what they represent in Dark Souls. The Dark Souls games, when you kill an enemy, you get a soul. In this game, it's all about blood, and blood connects the story to the main character, all of your abilities, and everything you basically do in the game. It's kind of insane how it all ties together, but I'll leave that to you. Oh, and I'm taking his brains out with my fist parts. Yeah, look at that. Look at that blood and gore. Oh, and just a giant blood spray. This is my kind of game. It's like kind of goth in a weird, awesome way. And, well, it's because of the H.P. Lovecraft. It's because of the H.P. Lovecraft connection. Really. This game is It doesn't really straight up rip off H.P. Lovecraft, but there is
that's in public domain anyway, so
that's true.
Rip it off all you want.
And they did quite a bit here, even in certain lore referring to the Eldritch truth, which is the weird, unscrutable, uncomfortable truth that people would often find if they were allowed to transcending dreams and universes. Yeah, this celestial emissary just got rocked. That's my favorite outfit there, by the way. This is probably one of the most underrated weapons in the game. The threaded cane, which is what I actually chose to start with. This is my first character. The threaded cane is really subtle. It's like a short sword and a whip, so it's good at crowd control. But eventually, I settled upon the axe, which has an excellent one-handed form and the best two-handed weapon in the game by far, I think. Just because of the devastating spin-to-win technique, which you're going to see me use here against these two assholes who never saw it coming. Get them both. You have that much of a spread. So it goes through anything that it hits. I mean anything, even bosses. So yeah. Honorable shout out to, of course, the Kirk hammer here, which I'm wielding not very well at all against that guy. And the Tonitrus, which is a lightning mace.
Nitrous.
Yeah, it's jacked up, man. You can drive that Tonitrus 150 miles an hour, but you turn that fucking valve, that nitrous gas fills up, and boom, it goes off. It's faster than NASCAR. Of course, just like in Dark Souls, there's a mechanic where you can upgrade your weapons and your armor. And, of course, this thing called Carol runes, which are tied a little to the lore, but are runes that you etch onto your mind that let you just be way more badass.
Oh, and this is you and a friend, I guess?
Yeah, me, a friend, and oddly enough, one of the bosses in the game are rocking on the first boss. This game features the kind of drop-in, drop-out PvP and/or co-op that Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 have, and Demon Souls as well. But this game is a little more friendly with that. You can call people into your world. There's never a port state, so you're never a zombie. So there's never like a difference to when you can do it. You can just call, you ring a bell, and then someone can answer that bell to be a collaborator when you're near a boss. But oftentimes when you ring a bell, someone who's bad will hear it, who's ringing a bell to invade at the same time as you ring your bell to allow people in. And those people, so you can be aggro if you want. You can find the tools in the game to do that. Or you can be a collaborator, like the person who's helping me fight the first boss. And there's actually a lot of... the emotes are one of my favorite things to do in the game, just because you can be ridiculous with them. Like, we're just pumped about winning. And then, yeah, I think she waves goodbye to me here, or Satomi, whoever that is, and I'm waving bye to them.
Yeah, I don't think you would have ever beat that thing without some outside help.
It's kind of really tough, yeah, because it has a spell that kind of zaps the entire area with laser beams, and it's really hard to avoid. Eridus is an interesting monster. You'll encounter that if you're really scared or not scared at all from Nightmare Realm. Perhaps you'll find it there. God, this game. I can play this game. I actually am playing this game again in bits and pieces to not spoil it for myself, but the co-op definitely ties the whole game together, and it doesn't detract from it. Now there does this thing called the Chalice Dungeons. They're not exactly part of the game, but they are part of the game. You can think of them as side quests, but you at least have to go through one or two of them in order to get through the game.
These are how you can pad out your adventure.
Well, they did it in a really good way. They tied the lore into this, so there are some story connections, but I don't want to talk about exactly what those are. But if you get certain chalices and perform certain rituals with all these little collectibles you get, which you actually find more in the chalice dungeons when you explore them, you get to unlock certain things that kind of not really affect the story, but let you know a little more about the entire universe of Yharnam and what's going on with all these crazy monsters. I hate that bastard. The guy with the bag. Oh, dude. Then that uppercut move is not fair. This section of the game, I think a lot of original Dark Souls fans will like, because it's a lot of caves and caves and dungeons, so it's basically like a dungeon crawler mode. But a lot of the setups are very similar to Dark Souls, like what's the name of that? Sin's Fortress. There are a lot of setups that are like Sin's Fortress, and I know that sounds bad, but it's still
like this.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of it, enough of it to be cruel. It's just challenging.
You move a lot easier in this
You're
game.
so fucking nimble. You have a dodge move. You have there's no fat roll anymore. You just move like a lightning bolt, basically, and you can dodge it pretty much whenever you want. I don't even think it really hinders your stamina that much. And you have long-range weapons like the gun that you can improve based on how you stat your character. You can actually really fuck people up with guns. There isn't really necessarily a magic until later in the playthroughs of the game. Also, if you
the tentacle arm.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about the auger. Yeah, there are certain effects and powers you can get that most people will get to use on their second playthrough, because they they never focused on magic at first. They focused on strength, so they can use big crazy weapons and kill stuff by attacking. But in order to get through these later dungeons, you're going to need pretty much every technique at your disposal. So when you play this game, I recommend leveling everything kind of evenly, as hard as that sounds. Yeah, of course, focus on strength to use the weapons you want. Probably want to use the axe, especially if you can, if you're not afraid to get into combat and really get your hands dirty.
I don't know. It kind of feels like that's cheating.
No, it's just there because this game is hard, and once you learn how to use the weapon right, you can just exploit its usefulness. I mean, they're tools. They're there to be used, and some of the things you run into, even these are just bosses from the Chalice dungeon, so you get extra bosses, and every level has an extra boss. So if you just want more challenge, you come back to these Chalice dungeons. You can regenerate them, you can share them with friends online, you can do a lot of things with them. They're customizable. Depending upon what you put into the Chalice when you perform the ritual, you get different items, different drops, and the community's already figured that out. So this game's awesome. If you haven't played it already, you definitely freaking should. What do you think? You want to play it?
Not particularly, but that's just me.
Yeah, if you like Dark Souls, if you like Dark Souls 2, you should play this game.
We're gonna make it like this guy. Get out of here.
Yeah, did you see that fucking attack? That was some baller ass shit.